So you're probably wondering why I have this big heavy-duty F250, and it's mainly because the payload I had to carry today is massive. But yeah, you guys have seen me in my Urus and my Bentley and my Rolls, and I usually pull up in something like that. But this watch deserves heavy duty. I want to get inside and educate myself as well as you guys on the channel a lot about diving. Submarine diving, all that kind of good stuff, because that's what's in here. So let's go inside and check this out. And this is gonna be a really educational, fun video. So let's go check it out. We have a new Rolex here. A friend of mine gave me this to do a review on it, which is pretty cool. And it's a huge Rolex, but it's not that heavy, and you'll see why in a second. So all jokes aside about my truck and everything, this Rolex is actually not even that heavy. But let's get into it, so check this out. Look at this big thing here. I have to say, like Rolex, I don't know what they do. I wish they like invented something that you could smell, but like the smell of Rolex is like one of my favorite smells. It almost like kind of reminds me of like the way money smells almost a little bit. I don't know, there's some sort of like dopamine reward there. Maybe it's kind of like leather and money. Oh my God, I love the way it smells. I just gave you guys a sneak peek of a very special box right there. If you can see immediately right here, this is not your average Rolex box, but we have a Rolex Sea Dweller Deep Sea Challenge. I don't know if they just like dropped Sea Dweller or not, but we have this beautiful 50 millimeter, reference number 126067. This is a 50 millimeter behemoth of a watch. It's one of the most unique watches I've ever probably done a review on. We did the Omega, the Snoopy Omega, which I thought was really cool. That's going to the moon. This one is going to the depths of the Mariana Trench, which we'll learn about in a second, but to the deepest depths of the ocean, which is kind of opposite. We went to the moon once, now we're going deep into the ocean. And then we'll check out this box. So first thing you notice right here, we have a insignia. Typically Rolex doesn't do anything like this, but since this is a special watch, we've got Rolex Deepsea Challenge, 36,090 feet, 11,000 meters, 2603 2012, 2301 1960, Mariana Trench. We've got some Rolex crowns there. Usually Rolex will have like a pocket right here that folds down, and you can keep your cards in, your warranty booklets, all that kind of good stuff. But this is different. So we have this here. Here we're gonna have the owner's manual. So you see Oyster Perpetual Deepsea Challenge, specific to this watch, which is the Deepsea Challenge. And then you also have your cards in here, which has your model and serial number. And then you have your warranty booklet on the back side. So again, model number is the 126067. This watch came out, I believe, in October of 2022, somewhere in that time frame. And the guy that I borrowed this from was actually asked or invited to purchase this watch because of the size that he is. He is a big dude, big linebacker. He used to play college football. Just I think he's like 6'7", 6'8", massive guy. Unlike me, my small stature, I would never be able to wear this watch. First off, it's kind of funny. People ask me, Garrett, why do you wear these bracelets right here on your actual watch? It's kind of funny. I saw Stefan Winkelmann. He's the CEO of my favorite car company, Automobile Lamborghini. So he is the CEO of Lamborghini, and I've seen videos and stuff of him, and he's always wearing like a cool like coat and tie, and usually like an AP, and he always has like an armful of bracelets. And I was like, man, that looks really cool up against the watch. Like it just complements it, makes it kind of young and fun. And so it's something I kind of adopted from him, honestly. I've seen stuff of him. So I usually wear bracelets just on this wrist, but I started wearing them on this one, and I keep like a cloth bracelet and like a wooden one, so it doesn't really like affect and scratch my watch. But anyway, I'll take this watch off. Short side note there on why I wear bracelets with my watch. I'll actually take them off just for this. So my friend, again, he purchased it. He's had it for a little over a year, and because of his size, it fits him perfectly, and it looks good on his wrist. But look how gigantic this thing is. I don't know if you can tell. I mean, it is absolutely massive. At 50 millimeters, it's the largest, I want to say, commercially produced watch that Rolex actually has. It's thicker. It's, yeah, but surprisingly, if I had the regular steel bracelet on here, I don't think I would be able to notice, like if I were to close my eyes, I don't think I would notice a difference in the weight of this. So that titanium, it's RLX titanium, it makes this thing feel so much more lighter. Let's dive into some neat aspects about this watch. So again, I talked about earlier, you can see on the back here, there's some dates, Mariana Trench. We'll get into what Mariana Trench is here. We have the ratings here, 36,000, 90 feet, 11,000 meters, actually on the watch as well. We have the original gas escape valve at the top, and then we have the ring lock system here at the bottom. So what's really neat about this, and my friend being a large guy, is he's actually uncomfortable wearing this watch because it's not big enough. He's been waiting on Rolex to send him like 1 or 2 extra links, even though it's massive. And you actually have this clasp system here that you can pull up on the middle. I don't know if you can see that there. It slides out to be able to extend for if you want to, have a wetsuit on, if you're, diving, free diving, scuba diving, you can lock that back. And that actually can fit him when you do that. But what ends up happening here is you have this really large link, and it just looks a little odd, and it also bends kind of in a weird spot. So mainly what this is for you to be able to put on your wetsuit when you're going diving. And so you can kind of keep your normal size here, and then you open this up, and then you can put on your wetsuit, lock that back, everything's locked in place. So it's not really for the styling, it's more for, hey, I don't want to have to readjust my watch size every single time. And then if you have a thicker suit, you can actually take this and pop it, and then you can expand it even more, so you can get more length out of it. And I can't remember if he told me he needs to actually do this as well, or if he can just slide it all the way out, but he just doesn't like the look of that one long link there. So an extra 1 or 2 links would help him out a lot. Rolex doesn't make a lot of titanium watches, and so it's hard for him to get this exact titanium link. And so he's been struggling with that. So he's like, hey, I'm not wearing it, I'm keeping it in my safe. Let's do a review on it, take some pictures of it, make some cool social media posts and all that kind of good stuff, which I thought was pretty neat. So we'll do that for him. And so yeah, let's put this thing together, and I'm gonna kind of play with it a little bit more and kind of go into some cool like diving, scuba diving, where the name Deepsea Challenge came from, and kind of some unique aspects about this watch. So let's get started into that. So as you can see, this Rolex comes with a Oyster band, Oyster Perpetual Motion, and then it comes in the RLX titanium alloy metal here, which I want to say may be a first for Rolex. I'm not 100% sure. It took many years of research required to overcome all of the watchmaking and manufacturing challenges presented by the Deepsea Challenge, capable of withstanding pressure 1,000 times greater than that on the surface. It combines the ring lock system with a helium escape valve as well. The helium escape valve thus allows the gas to be released without compromising the watch's waterproofness, which is pretty cool, which is actually this valve that you see here. Pretty neat. So it has a very intense black dial. The dial's luminescent chromolite display is an innovation that improved visibility in dark environments and an essential feature for divers. So if you can see, like we've done some videos of this where we've turned off the lights and you can actually see in dark conditions how vibrant and bright the markers are there. It's pretty neat. James Cameron is known for his movies like Titanic, Avatar, Terminator films, as well as Abyss. And he actually went to the Mariana Trench 23 years after making the movie Abyss. James Cameron traveled to the Mariana Trench, considered one of the deepest spots in the Earth's oceans at almost 7 miles below the surface. Do you experience major pressure changes if you're inside a submersible? Like, why does this watch need to be rated for 36,000 feet if, 11,000 meters, if a human can't dive to those depths? So in doing that, I was like, what is the longest or deepest free dive of a human? And also, what's the deepest scuba dive of any human? And so we did some research on that to find out, is this even necessary? I mean, I think this thing, sadly to say, but I think if anything were to happen to a submersible and the passengers were to die, this would still survive. This would be laying on the bottom of the Mariana Trench and still survive. And I don't know for how long. That's a question, honestly, you guys could probably let me know in the comments. How long would this survive underneath the ocean rated for this amount of time? He wore essentially a prototype of this watch going down to that trench. But again, he was having issues with that watch because of it really wasn't that wearable because it was so heavy. I mean, you see the size of this, so you can imagine if this is in a steel case, how much heavier this could be. And so this watch actually in the titanium was able to be reduced in weight by 30% based on that watch that he actually wore, which was kind of like the prototype or the concept watch, if you will. So, fun fact, the deepest free dive ever, which is a dive performed without any sort of oxygen or tanks or anything, was 436 feet. And so, I don't understand why you need this inside of a submersible, but hey, you have access to it. So yeah, I mean, that pretty much concludes a lot of cool history about diving, James Cameron, Rolex, titanium, you know, the history of this watch, which I think is a really, really unique piece of Rolex. They kind of went the opposite. They're going under the sea. Omega's going to the stars, going to the moon, going into outer space, which is pretty cool. So a couple different, like, you know, differences there from each manufacturer, but I think this is one of the most unique Rolexes I've ever had the opportunity to review and hold in my hands. And honestly, I think it's one of the coolest Rolexes as far as like a manufacturing standpoint of what this took to actually get it into manufacture and kind of the story behind it, which is really neat. Special shout out to James Cameron. Really cool watches. Has a ton of history of watches, which is pretty neat, and also makes some really great movies. So shout out to James Cameron on that.